Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
It's a closed system approach because the money never leaves the co-op. You can shop all day long at Sam's Club and Costco and all these people that you might be a member, but at the end of the year, are they going to share in those revenues with you, Steve? But the beautiful thing about a co-op is at the end of the year, we're required by law that any net revenue left at the end of the year must be paid back in equal proportion to the patronage of each member. So if you contribute to 10% of the total revenues of that co-op, then you get entitled to 10% of any net revenues at the end of the year will come back to you in the form of a patronage refund. Doesn't get much better than that, does it, Steve?
I want to invite you into the Business Network, my free school community for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to grow their network and scale their business. Inside, you'll get step-by-step lessons, monthly workshops, feedback, scripts, resources, bonuses, and a community of like-minded people who believe in helping each other win. Join us today at school.com/thebusinessnetwork and click Join Group. I'll see you inside.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and thank you for coming on and either watching or listening to the show. Let's start with our gratitude, and then we'll introduce our guest. We always want to start off with a great positive note. I love this one. There's just one word to truly describe you. Awesome. You all listening out there are awesome. My guest is awesome. We are. Of course, that looks many different ways, but you truly are awesome. And look in the mirror. Do me a favor after you listen to this show. Look in the mirror and say you're awesome, because it does work. All right. With that being said, let's bring our guest on. DG, welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. I'm awesome.
You are awesome. Just talking to you for 5-10 minutes. But let's jump into this co-op economics, something you're passionate about. Describe that for us.
Yeah, well, I got involved when I was 24 years young, and co-op development in Pasadena called Co-op Village. Coincidentally, it's the name of the book, Creating a Co-op Village. And, I just looked at the existing economic paradigm that we've been caught up in for, I don't know, way too many years, which is based on competition and conflict, which always seems to lead to war and problems. So I said, there's got to be another way, got to be another alternative. And then I started looking at the co-op situation. I got hired by the developer there in Pasadena, and I got involved and ended up becoming a consultant to the co-op industry. And I've been bit by the co-op bug ever since, and I'm loving it. So I work with the co-op bank in DC to help create financing for cooperative owned businesses. And I've been work with a lot of co-ops all around the country. In Berkeley, when they had the Berkeley co-ops going on big time in Berkeley, California, Greenbelt co-ops in Maryland, Palo Alto co-ops. They even had a co-op here in Phoenix, in Tempe, called Gentle Strength Co-op, until Whole Foods set up their business right next door to them and intentionally put them out of business. And those are the kind of games that go on.
Yeah, I can imagine. Political as well. So when you say co-op, and interesting, let me ask you this. Why don't you say co-op city instead of village?
Because village is where it starts,
Oh, okay.
It starts in the village, and that's a smaller circle. And then it grows from the village to the city.
Yeah.
It's really based on African tribal society, communal living. evolved from communal living where we were dependent on each other for survival, and then it evolved to what is now the Rochdale principle of co-op that they developed in England, which was all based on indigenous lifestyles and living.
I understand it now. I knew there was a reason, and that's a great reason, obviously.
Yeah.
So describe the co-op. So I'm near Palo Alto. I'm in San Jose. Let's use my city as an example. You want to start a co-op. Is it a building where businesses come in and co-op together? Give us more of an image.
Well, the
of
easiest example for most people would be credit unions. Credit unions are co-ops. A lot of people don't know that. And there might be a lot of people listening out here who are probably members of credit unions and didn't even know that a credit union was a co-op. So that's the first thing. If you want to get familiarized with co-ops, join a credit union. That's the first thing you can do. And then from there, you have housing co-ops. They're owned by the people who live in the housing, which is much better than a condominium.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you don't own the whole development. With the co-op, you own the whole development, including your unit. You own a part of that whole development. So you're equal with everybody else. One member, one vote, democratically controlled, neutral in race, religion, and politics. And that's the part I like the best, is the neutrality in race, religion, and politics. Co-ops, we don't care what your race, religion, politics, or gender happens to be. We just want to know if you're a member of the co-op. So you've got housing co-ops, you've got healthcare co-ops, you've got energy co-ops, you've got farm co-ops. For example, Sunkist, Land O'Lakes, True Value Hardware Store, IKEA, Carpet One, the #1 carpet retailer in the country, is a co-op. So there's a lot of co-ops that people don't know that they're co-ops because they're very quiet about it. They don't, broadcast it a lot. They don't need to, because people understand the value of banking with the credit union as opposed to banking with the regular bank. And so the credit unions had a lot of troubles because the banks didn't like the fact that they were providing more service and lower interest rates. So they tried to block credit unions from going across state lines to other states. So this was a big thing within the credit union industry, is that the banks were always trying to block them from expanding. And that's because they provide better service and better products than the traditional banks do. And so they're scared to death of credit unions.
Yeah, I can see that. What it reminds me of, if you people out there are sports fans, the Green Bay Packers are a co-op. The fans own all the fans that have bought into are co-opt into owning the team.
It's a beautiful thing. They were gonna when they were working on Obamacare, they had kicked around the idea of making the Affordable Care Act a cooperatively owned situation. Now, if they had done that, that would have been perfect. Then there wouldn't be any secret, because everything is transparent within a co-op. Because we all would own it. The whole country would own the Affordable Care Act system together as a cooperative. And then we'd have access. We'd be able to have control over, what's charged. There wouldn't be any hidden fees or games going on underneath the surface of everything. You see, it would be completely transparent, and we know exactly what we're getting for our buck.
Yeah, it's powerful because the fans can control vote of how they ticket prices, and it reminds me of medical cost sharing. It's not been grown. It's been a Christian platform, but that's co-op as well. Was involved with that a few years ago, and that same thing. They would, you buy into a bucket. The bucket pays out all the different medical services. It's not growing very fast that I'm aware of, but that reminds me of that too. So when you say the global village, you try to get all those businesses, the hardware, the clinic, everything that's involved with the people to become co-ops, right?
Well, the beautiful thing about co-ops is that they can coexist under any political system. They can coexist under, capitalism, socialism, communism. There's a lot of co-ops all around the world. There's a lot more action going on in other countries with co-ops than there are going on in the United States. We're a little slow, unfortunately, in certain areas. But I think what's going on now, Steve, is that we're looking around the world and seeing all the conflict and stuff and competition that we're getting into, and we're beginning to kind of wake up. People are beginning to wake up. So I address that in my book. This is a way for us to wake up out of the sleep that we've been in. And so when things are going good, no one thinks about cooperation and service. But when things get tough, then everyone wants to cooperate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, oh, hey, oh, how you doing, Joe? You know, how's it going? Can we work together on some stuff? You know, how about a food bank? You know, how about cooperative food bank? You know, so these are the kinds of things. It shouldn't be that way. Unfortunately, that we have to have, challenging situations for us to wake up and understand the power of cooperation,
Yeah.
the power of working together. We have a saying, the question is how do you create abundance? You create abundance through cooperation and service with each other. You know, that's how you create abundance.
Yeah.
And so co-ops are a powerful tool alternative to the competition, conflict, and extraction, because a lot of extraction going on. You have to look at, these big corporations that are coming into our communities and taking money out of our communities. How much of that money is going back to the community? That's what you have to ask yourself,
Yeah.
And if it's not a co-op, even these, you mentioned earlier, I think you mentioned something about these AI stations and things like that. Well, ideally, those should be co-ops.
Mhm.
Ideally, the structure for those AI stations should be cooperatively owned. That
Yeah.
way, the people have a stake in everything. The utility company can be a cooperatively owned utility company. They're nonprofit or not-for-profit utility companies. We have one right here in Arizona that I pay every month called SRP. And SRP is a not-for-profit utility company. There's a number of not-for-profit co-op utility companies around the country. So there's a lot of models that we can draw on. What we developed in Pasadena when I was doing Co-op Village in Pasadena, we had 255 co-op townhouses that people would buy into the co-op townhouses. And the people that bought the co-op townhouses also owned a 5-acre shopping center across the street from the townhouses. And then they leased that 5-acre shopping center out to Wells Fargo Bank, a co-op supermarket that the people would also own. So they used the revenue from the leasing of the shopping center across the street to go back to the housing co-op to lower the housing costs. These are the kind of models that can be created in cities across the country that reduce housing costs for people because they have a stake in the commercial development across the street that is helping to defray the housing costs. Then you have a recreation center tied to that where people can go and have fun and mingle with each other, and get to know each other and things like this. So these are the potentials that we have out here. It's just a matter of us being exposed to these ideas and giving us the opportunity within the cities to create these co-ops.
So it's a win-win instead of a win-lose. Sounds like,
You
right?
got it. It's a win-win because we're all part of the team. You got employee-owned co-ops. You've got that are owned by the employees. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know,
There's something called ESOP that I've interviewed a couple of gentlemen that do that, employee give back. And one of the companies that sold, the janitor made like $500,000 because he'd been there 20 years in a co-op. They got a piece of the sale of the company, not just a new owner. It's just, I love what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
because I mean, if you can be a renter or you can be an owner, what would you like to be?
That's an easy answer. Owner.
If you're a renter, that means you're just on the plantation. Okay,
yeah.
That's all. You're renting land from the plantation owner. But when you own the co-op, you own it equally with everyone else who's a member of that 255 co-op townhouses were owned by all those 255 people who also own the shopping center across the street. You see, so it's not rocket science, Steve. It's just common sense.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is lower costs.
Yeah.
You make a little bit of money because you're an owner and you have control. which are the three things missing. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you have community. And that's the one thing that we don't really have today.
Community.
We don't have community, man. People are talking to each other on the cell phones.
Yeah, that's community. That box.
Even in their own houses. So everything is competition mentality, even in your own home.
Yeah.
Everyone's competing on the cell phone.
Yep. For attention.
They can't sit down and have a conversation with each other because they're too busy and preoccupied on the cell phone.
Yeah.
You see, that's why we added a recreational center with the Co-op Village in Pasadena so that we could come together as a community and build on that, have sports activities, different activities for the people who live in Co-op Village. And so we have a plan to replicate the Co-op Village that we built in Pasadena to cities all across the country, and get the city fathers to buy in, and you have the businesses sign up as merchant members of the co-op, and then the people shop at those merchants, and a percentage of that purchase price, the merchants would give back as a cash reward, or what we call in the co-op industry a patronage refund, on purchases. That's where the whole idea of cash rewards came from. Okay. And you happen to be talking to the guy who created the first cash rewards debit card with MasterCard back in 2000.
Wow.
I'm the guy. So you guys can blame me for all these cash reward programs that are out there dropping in your email box every day.
Yeah.
my mother would tell me, she said, they stole your idea. I said, yeah, I know, mother. Now cash rewards are everywhere. So, but it started with us in 2000 when we created the first Affinity debit card, co-branded debit card with a co-op that could pay cash rewards up to 40%.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Large.
So we're just taking it to the next level now, where we're creating a digital wallet where you just put the digital wallet on your phone and you go into participating merchants and you tap and pay. And the merchant has to be a member of the co-op as well. So now you've got the merchants and the consumers working together instead of working apart. That's the beautiful thing about that is because right now it's the merchants fighting over the consumer. That's not necessary. If the merchant is a member of the co-op and the consumer is a member of the co-op, we're just buying and selling from each other. We're supporting each other. We're keeping each other in business. We're keeping the ecosystem close knit and tight. Like Buckmaster Foley's talk about a closed systems approach to living. That's what a co-op is. It's a closed system approach because the money never leaves the co-op. You can shop all day long at Sam's Club and Costco and all these people that you might be a member, but at the end of the year, are they going to share in those revenues with you, Steve?
Yeah. No, they usually don't.
Who's your revenue going to, Steve?
Yeah, well, it's the headquarters, of course.
The stockholders, okay? Yeah. But the beautiful thing about a co-op is at the end of the year, we're required by law that any net revenue left at the end of the year must be paid back in equal proportion to the patronage of each member. So if you contribute to 10% of the total revenues of that co-op, then you get entitled to 10% of any net revenues at the end of the year will come back to you in the form of a patronage refund. Okay?
Good system.
It doesn't get much better than that, does it, Steve?
It does not. So here's the elephant in the room, DG. How do a traditional business model listening going, well, how do I get started with this?
Any business can be a co-op. Let me just say that. But the thing you gotta work on, Steve, is your greed. Okay? People are greedy. Okay? Unfortunately, we have a greed mentality, a dog eat dog, greedy mentality, and we have to have all the money. So the first thing I had to do, because I created a company that I was going to give away. Who creates a company to give it away? Where I'm equal to everybody else as a member of the co-op, as everybody else that joins, and I'm the founder. Okay, so who does that? I had to work. It took me about, my partner and I, probably a year and a half to to work on our greed so we could, burn that greed off and be able to create this thing called co-op, global village co-op, or creating a co-op village. You gotta really burn off that greed, man, and be able to work with people in the community and not have to be the one who has the most money or drives the nicest car all the time, you know. But you're about servicing the community. You're not about servicing yourself or taking a trip to the Bahamas, although you could take a
Yeah.
trip to the Bahamas. The co-op working together could create a situation where everybody could go to the Bahamas or to Jamaica or wherever you want to go. But if you want to just go to Jamaica by yourself and show off how much money you have and the nice cars that you have, okay, fine. That's a certain type of mentality that I don't want to be a part of anymore because I know where it's going. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to cause the kind of conflict we're dealing with right now in the Middle East. And we don't need that.
I can imagine that people can reach out to you because what they don't know, but they can reach out to you. You can give them some advice and help them go co-op.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's lots of resources. The National Cooperative Business Association in Washington, D.C., NCBA. You got the National Cooperative Bank in Washington, D.C. They work together. You've got a number of different co-op organizations out there. You got the Credit Union National Association for credit unions. So if you want to start your own credit union, you can do that. So there's lots of resources out there that people can tap into very easily. You just have to have the intent, to shift the paradigm from competition and conflict to cooperation and service, because competition and conflict leads to war. Cooperation and service leads to peace and prosperity.
Growth.
That's how I see it.
Abundance, all those great words.
Abundance, all that good stuff.
We're coming to the end here. Talk about the book real quick. Name, title of the book, where they can get it, and what it's about.
Yeah, man, the book is cool. I put all my great ideas right here in this book. Creating a co-op village. Okay? How real world co-op businesses build wealth and thriving communities. That's what this book is all about. So it's all kinds of real world examples in here. We have a blueprint in here for our co-op, which is called Global Village Co-op. And all that is in here. We have a section called Smart Spending. We have a section in here that talks about the history of co-ops and where they came from and how they got started and all the ones that have been successful. Well, most of the ones that have been very successful. You can go online, you can type in co-op businesses. National Cooperative Business Association provides a list of all their businesses. We want to create a national cooperative business directory and green directory and socially responsible corporations and businesses who are out there who are giving back to the community. Those are the people we want.
Well, let me support you, DG. Audience, the first 3 people that reach out to DG, we'll get his contact information here in a minute, and mention the podcast. I'm going to send you his book for free. So if you know somebody in the business, you have a business, let's get this message out. I love what you're doing here. And just, again, mention my name of the podcast. Hey, DJ, I heard you here. And he'll get your contact info or give you my contact info. Email me and I'll get your address and send you on a wonderful book.
Well, thank you for that, Brother Steve. Appreciate you.
You bet. My pleasure. Well, let's end with a get to know DG question. So I'm coming out to Scottsdale where you live, and you're going to pick your favorite restaurant. I'm going to reserve a table. We're going to eat, me and you. But I want you to invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, who've been influential in your life. And for me, I'm a foodie. What food would you order for the table?
I like Indian food, man.
Okay. That's it.
Love Indian food. So yeah, we'll go to the India Palace.
Beautiful. Who are we inviting?
Who am I going to invite? Well, I'm going to invite my business partner, of course, Frank Crump. I'm going to invite my 2 sons.
Beautiful. Keeping the family.
Yeah, keep it in the family.
Well,
my sons are very successful too, so I have to take my hat off to them.
Amen. And you're proud. It sounds like a proud father too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, DJ, thank you for taking the time, first of all, and being such an incredible guest with a great, incredible opportunity to really change the world and serve a servant's heart to the world. one business at a time. How can people reach out? I know people listening are going to go, I got to connect with DG.
Yeah, just Saphir, which is Safeer. It's safer, but it's with two E's instead of. So Safeer, Saphir at globalvillage.coop. And there's no dash in co-op. It's just Saphir at globalvillage.coop. And that's a designation that you can only get when you're a legitimate co-op.
That's beautiful.
You can't get .coop if you're not really a co-op. And we're a legitimate co-op incorporated in Washington, D.C., but we operate all over the country and all over the world because it's called Global Village.
We're going to put the links in the description, so you'll have it there, or you can reach out to me if you need to connect. I have all those connections as well, the way to connect. And thanks again, DG and audience. What a great show to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be my podcast. We're going to talk. DG has a podcast he's relaunching. We'll get that in the show notes once it's launched. But these are truly gifts. If you're a business owner or a friend of a business owner and you're listening to this, go, Joe's got to listen to this. What a great way to give them the impact of co-ops by listening to DG for 10, 15 minutes, what this really could do. And you know what, audience, you know this, we need to impact more people and give out more gifts with the world that it is today.
Amen, brother. And be as hooked on the co-op as you are on that cell phone.
There you go. What a great way to end. Beautiful. Well, me and DJ want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Steve.